In this week's BlizzPro Weekly, Polt guaranteed a seat at global playoffs for Starcraft. Get your hack and slash on during the month of March with a side of beef. Hearthstone tournament hype and tinfoil hat things. And Shadow hacks Multizord's account. Wait a minute. Hey there, everybody. My name is Kevin Ellis, also known as Multizord. And we are filming on March the 6th, 2016, and this is episode number 106. Now, I should mention to you guys, there's going to be some changes coming in the show pretty soon here. Actually, it's in part because my good buddy Greg Parker, a.k.a. Gizmozord, is going to be moving to Jacksonville, Florida, actually pretty soon here. So, congrats to him on the new job, the new change of scenery and all that. I'm really happy for the guy. We're still keeping up the old Lords of the Storm podcast, of course. We're just going to be doing it from different states, but it'll be fine. So anyway, when it comes to how this impacts this show, I should mention that we're going to have a lot of changes coming up. I would just encourage you to tune in next week to see how everything turns out. But we're really excited about just new possibilities and a couple new directions to take the show. So, in the meantime, let's go ahead and get in some Blizzard news real quick here.
Want a piece of me, boy?
Hey guys, this week was huge for Starcraft. As you know, the WCS Winter Championship in Katowice was last week, and what a championship it was. Congratulations to Polt for securing a 4-2 victory against Snoot, and this will be the 4th World Championship claimed by the veteran player, and unsurprisingly so. That final match was absolutely intense. Some amazing plays were seen by both players. But before we get into the final match, I can't help but mention the semi-final match between Hydra and Snoot. Let's take a look.
Until now, but here come the Banelings. Snoot forced to back up. Really nice
the
targeting.
The targeted man down. Banelings means no more splash against these leagues except for Corrosive Bile. It's Corrosive Bile. All the Ravages go down. And Snoot has too much army here. He's all the way in the third of Hydra.
Look at this, he's pushing the issue now. Roach is trying to get out here for the defense, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Snoot, so
is it enough? He can taste it. 50 drones have been killed. It looks like Snoot has done it. His 50 supply up. More now. The Queen supply. GG. A smile and a sigh of relief.
The look of relief on Snoot's. The final match had fans on the edges of their seats. Some of Snoot's maneuvers were absolutely amazing.
Some of these Ravages are left terribly exposed. Money fumbles all over the bottom. Corrosive Bile hits everything as well. Polt's army drops below 100. Supply a phenomenal engagement for Snoot. Good God. Wow, and he gets one more medevac as well. They actually had a couple of units.
This was an amazing match between both Polt and Snoot. It was an incredible, thrilling match, and you know, even though Polt secured this victory, I will always still be rooting for the foreigners with the hope that one day the foreigners will be able to compete on the same level as the Koreans. But that's enough about WCS. Let's get a quick update on GSL. We've got Tide, Trap, Solar, and Speed emerging victorious from the previous week, which means we've got 2 more days of Group Stage 1 before we move on to the round of 16. And the Shanghai tournament is on March 19th. So we have that to look forward to, and that's all we got for StarCraft. What's up with Overwatch?
The world could always use more heroes.
Alright, so in Overwatch, first things first, I've got to kind of mention that after all this time, I finally got in the beta, just this past week. Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to rub it in anyone's face or anything. Yeah, Shadow's actually there in the background, already come at me with a screwdriver over this. So I'm just gonna, when I'm done with this part, I'm gonna just sneak out the door as best I can, because, yeah, fearing for my life right now. But anyway, it's a good time. That's all I'm gonna say. Not rubbing it in anyone's face, at least as best I can. So other things, of course, happened in Overwatch 2 this past week. A new patch to the beta went live on March 1st. And it had some interesting changes to it. Things that we didn't really necessarily think were a problem, but interesting stuff. For instance, the payload speed, the actual payload and how it travels through the map, has been increased for when 1 or 2 players are escorting it. However, its max speed is still the same if 3 or more players are escorting it. So I guess it's just to make the games go a little bit quicker if you're only able to stack 1 or 2 people on the payload at a time. So, I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Now, when it comes to loot boxes in the game, Blizzard has changed around how some of these are prioritized. Like now, for instance, all the sprays and voice lines are common, all the player icons and victory poses are rare, and they also reduce the chance you'd get a legendary quantity of credits in a loot box. And I know that this actually felt really bad initially, to finally get a legendary box and you open it up and it's just money, like nothing else, not the skin you've been waiting for or anything like that. And I've got to think that on Blizzard's part, this is a direct reaction to my good friend Endboss's YouTube stream, where he posted his reaction to this happening the first time. And you could just, if you want to see a grown man cry, just search for End Boss YouTube reaction on credits or legendary loot box or anything like that. You'll find it. It's interesting to see. But anyway, some other small changes include the social wheel, where you're able to emote with your characters. They're actually removing the cooldown incurred by using voice lines, but they are adding a short global cooldown to them. And so that's just to cut down on really over-the-top spamming. But even so, frequent spamming is going to lock you out for a few seconds, which is pretty much how it works in Hearthstone, right? Like, if you just say something too much, you incur this time in which you have to wait to say something again. But that just keeps people from getting way too annoying. But then, of course, in this patch, there were a bunch of hero balance changes that were really interesting. For instance, on Bastion, it's kind of a little thing, but they removed his aiming restrictions while he's transforming, just to kind of make him feel more mobile and not so rigid. And then also, previously, if you were to attack Bastion from the rear, he has an exposed core while he's in the sentry mode, and it used to do triple damage when he would be hit from behind, and now it's just double, so he takes more damage from behind. Just think into that where you will. Anyway, we've also got Genji and Lucio have had their hit points reduced from 200 to 150, which is actually really huge for them. It's making these really strong characters a little bit less so. And Junkrat's Rip Tire, or RIP Tire, however you will, now actually has more health, but if it's destroyed before it actually is detonated on a person, it no longer detonates. So you can kind of counter it a little bit better, even though they've given it more health to compensate for that. And also, the damage fall-off in its detonation radius has decreased as well. So, like, the further out you are, you're still going to take a lot of damage. So it's technically stronger as long as it doesn't get killed before it reaches you. So, something to think about when you're playing against Junkrats these days. Also, we've got Mei had her primary fire buffed. It gives now an initial minimum slow, and the Blizzard ultimate can't be blocked by barriers or payloads. Mercy's Guardian Angel is back to where it was, to where now it can target dead allies once more. So, again, just watch and make sure whoever you're jumping to is alive or dead. I guess that's just kind of something you have to think about as a healer in most games, so I'm cool with that. Alright, so the main one, really, to me, as far as nerfs go this patch, that's kind of throwing me off, is the Winston one. They've made it to where his barrier projection, the bubble shield, the health is now on that shield down from 1,000 to 600, so a nerf to that. And also the cooldown for this activates after the barrier expires, no longer just when you put the first one down. So it's a huge nerf to the cooldown, pretty sizable nerf to the just effectiveness of the shield overall. So, and I mean, Winston was in a really good spot. I don't know if this is going to be enough to bring him down. I still find him fun, personally. He's actually one I've been taking up quite a bit. And then there's some other small ones. There's like Zarya's projected barrier duration has been cut from 4 seconds to 2. Zenyatta now gets notifications when you get Orbs of Harmony and Discord back to you from a dead target. So, the question then just remains, what do you guys think about these changes? Do you think it's going to change your hero choices at all? Or, I mean, are you worried about some of them? Frankly, it seemed like a little deal on paper when I was talking about it, but those health nerfs to Genji and Lucio are, I can't stress enough, they're really a huge deal. It kind of changes the way that you have to play those characters. The meta had evolved, for instance, to where there was something called the Genyata coming up, where you would have just, Genji would purely have the Orb of Harmony from Zenyatta on him the whole time, and it would allow him to just be really mobile and heal back up before he goes in to harass some more and all this stuff. And so that's different now that he can just be gibbed all the better. So I don't know. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. Obviously, we're still in the beta and everything's just in flux all the time, and that's the point. They're testing stuff out and seeing how it goes. But anyway, in the meantime, let's just get on with some Hearthstone news as well.
Pull up a chair by the heart.
So, the Winter Championships this month in Hearthstone are going to kick off with a special Hearthstone announcement, is what they're calling this. And this is where lead designer Ben Brode and senior producer Yang Wu are going to actually announce what will come next in Hearthstone. So, naturally, everyone's thinking, of course, this is going to be the new expansion coming out. Probably a lot of details regarding that. And then also some new stuff about the standard and wild split that's going to happen, as well as some of the card nerfs they're going to do to some of the classic and maybe even basic cards there too. So it's going to be really interesting. This is the announcement we've all been waiting for. So it's going to take place on March the 11th at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time at the start of the tournament. And of course for me, this is like a half hour before my lunch at work. So I'm going to kind of be stuck working, but I may end up going just Twitter blind for a couple hours and then catching the VOD after the fact, because I've just got to see this as if I had just been told it live, because it's going to be super fun. Anyway, afterwards, of course, there's going to be the official tournament itself, and you can actually tune in on the Hearthstone Twitch channel to watch those. And these Winter Championships are a huge deal. We've got the Americas one on March 11th through the 13th, starting right after the announcement at 10 o'clock a.m. PST. We've also got the next weekend, Europe Winter Championship has a starting time at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, March 18th through 20th. And then on the Asia Pacific tournament, it starts March 24th through 26th at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And of course, these times are all over the place because I guess the planet that we're on is round and stuff, and the sun. Like I didn't pay a ton of attention in class at this time, but I guess the sun hits the planet at different angles, and it causes. I don't get it, but anyway, it's gonna be fun stuff. I'm looking forward to watching some interesting matches there as we see pretty much the end of the current meta, because it's totally gonna change when Standard comes out. So naturally, we're all thinking with a few predictions here for you that the expansion is probably going to come out right after these tournaments conclude, because they have to get through all the different regions in the same meta and all of that, and they can't just throw a bunch of new cards at us in the middle of this for sure. So we're guessing that it's probably going to come out either late March or early April. And in the meantime, this kind of allows Blizzard to keep the hype going. They can be announcing new cards and, tweeting out different places where you can choose between the two cards that you want to see next and all of that stuff, as they've done in the past. So that's what I'm guessing is the rest of March is going to be, keeping up the hype and allowing you to watch really interesting pro plays. So it'll be fun. And now another interesting part is that it's come to light that reward and event cards are not going to be allowed in the standard mode. So currently this applies to Elite Tauren Chieftain, or ETC as we know him in Heroes, Gelbin Mechatork, Old Murk-Eye, and Captain's Parrot. So, I mean, of those, obviously, I'm going to miss Captain's Parrot the most. Like that, just straight OP. No, but seriously, Old Murk-Eye is interesting because that's a card that you unlocked by just getting all of the classic Murlocs, and it's the one that allows the charge and really kind of enables the current Murloc Paladin deck to work as it does. So, kind of a nerf to Murloc Paladin at least in standard mode, of course. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But the other thing is, the question kind of arose, will this allow Blizzard to come out with new crazy reward cards, just knowing that they're only going to be playable in the wild mode? Like, I don't know. We could see another BlizzCon card and all kinds of stuff. So we'll just have to see how all that turns out. But anyway, so I hate to see the reward ones not being able to be played in the mode that I'm going to take seriously, that is standard. But, I'm sure they have their reasons. Well, that about does it for this week yet again. Be sure to send Clover some email at dearcloverfromblizzpro@gmail.com and leave us some comments below. Let us know what you think. Also, be sure to check out all the other BlizzPro shows live at blizzpro/twitch.tv. On Sunday, we've got Well Met, the Hearthstone podcast. Tuesday, Heroes of the Storm Power Hour. Wednesday, West March Workshop for Diablo. Thursday now has the Payload for Overwatch. Also, be sure to check the Zords out on our podcasts, such as Lords of the Storm, which is now live on Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Central at twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, if you're looking for some more Heroes of the Storm content. And if you're looking for Overwatch, we also have the Cavalry podcast.